Introduction to the Acts of Andrew, from the Apocryphal Acts of Paul, Peter, John, Andrew, and Thomas, by Bernhard PICK. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. The Acts of Andrew. Introduction. Of Andrew, the brother of Peter, we know very little. According to Eusebius, Andrew labored in the countries north of the Black Sea. Some make Greece the sphere of his activity. Only the Muratorian fragment records that, in consequence of a revelation given to Andrew, John wrote his gospel, which would point to Ephesus. Leucian Acts of Andrew, like those of other apostles, are mentioned first by Eusebius. Epiphanius states that the Acts of Andrew were in favor with the Encratites, the Apostolics, and the Origanians or eunuchs. These sects point to Asia Minor, where the Leucian Acts, as we stated above, were composed. Augustine mentions that the Acts of the Apostles, written by Lucius Carinus, that is, a disciple of the devil, as Pope Gelasius calls him, were held in estimation by the Manichaeans. Philostrius of Brescia speaks of two kinds of Acts of Andrew. The authorship generally is attributed to Lucius by early writers. Innocentius I, however, says that the Acts of Andrew were composed by the philosophers Nexocharis and Leonidas, which may perhaps be a mistake for Lucius Carinus. Of the material of the Acts of Andrew, which still recently has come to us, two passages preserved by Euodius of Uzala, a contemporary of Augustine, in his De Fide contra Manichaeos, have been designated as original. Later revisions of the original Acts made it impossible to obtain a true state of the original Acts, and it is due to the labors of Professor Bonnet that we now have what may be considered a part of the ancient Acts. Following Hennecke, who also gives a critique of the sources, we give 1. The double fragment of Euodius, and 2. Andrew in prison. End of Introduction to Acts of Andrew.